Hi, everyone. We are going to get started in just a minute. All right, so I have 7 o'clock. Let's get started. Thank you all for joining me tonight for the golf pre-competition webinar. My name is Kendall. If you haven't seen all of my constant emails, thank you for putting up with that throughout the season. But I'm really excited for how this season has gone. Tonight's webinar is being recorded, and I will send out the recording as well as the slides. I know we had at least 2 county programs who had practice this evening, so they were unable to make it on, but I'll make sure that we have that for you guys. So this is kind of the agenda of what we're going to talk about. But before I dive into all of the nitty-gritty details, I wanted to thank you all for working so hard to create as many competitive opportunities this season as you did. We had 13 competitions, which is fantastic. Since 2016, the number of competitions has actually doubled, which is great. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what I can push everyone into doing for next year. We're just going to go over some of the general state championship information for both level 1 and for our stroke play athletes, as well as some delegation information, venues maps, driving directions. And then we should have some time at the end for an open discussion. If you have any questions, that's a great time to do so. However, if you have questions that pop up throughout this presentation, please feel free to either raise your hand on the side or type in a question. Mike Zarnowski is monitoring the raised hands and the question, so he can just stop me and let me know the question, and I'll make sure that we get it answered for you. So this year's state competition is next Sunday, September 30th, which has come super fast. We're back at Queenstown Harbor, which is a great facility, and they're just so excited that we keep on coming back to them. The schedule is pretty similar to last year. We'll have the practice area open to golfers at 7, and registration and check-in will be at 7:30. Please don't try to check in before 7:30. We want to make sure that we have everything all set up and ready to go for you. We'll have opening ceremonies at 8:15 until about 8:40, 8:45-ish. And then stroke play athletes, the first tee times are going to be at 9 a.m. We're doing skills a little bit differently this year just because we have seen a pretty large increase in our number of skills athletes, which is awesome. It's what we're always looking to do. But we decided to split it up. So our female skills athletes are going to be going first. Staging for them will start at 9:15 with the competition beginning at 9:30. The male athletes are going to be going after lunch. So they are going to eat from 11:15 to 11:45. They'll start their staging at 12 and their competition by 12:15. This should keep the pace of the skills competition a little bit better than it was last year. If we have smaller groups, it'll be less of a wait for the athletes. They won't be in the sun for as long. So this is just kind of the better option for the number that we are working with. And the award ceremony is tentatively starting around 11:30, possibly even 11. It's all dependent on when the first tee time finishes up, as well as when the skills competition for our female athletes ends. So the events that we have offered are all levels 1 through 5. Level 1 is our individual skills competition. Level 2 and 3 are the 9-hole and 18-hole alternate shot, so an athlete and a unified partner. And levels 4 and 5 are the 9-hole and the 18-hole individual. So some general competition rules. Athletes are divisioned according to our official Special Olympics sports rules. We do this based off of age, gender, and primarily ability. However, we may combine some age groups and genders to create the best competition opportunity. So we don't really like having an athlete in a division of 1 because it doesn't provide them any competition. They automatically get the gold. So we will combine age groups. However, we're not going to put an 8-year-old athlete with a 50-year-old athlete. We'll try to keep them at least in a range that seems acceptable. Another general competition rule is please no profanity or abusive language at any time. I highly recommend sending out the spectator code of conduct, coaches code of conduct, athlete code of conduct to your whole team prior to coming to the state competition. It's just a great reminder of the environment that we're wanting to create for our athletes. I can attach those to the email that I send out tomorrow morning with these slides, just as a reminder. If you don't have them handy, I'll send them so you can make sure to distribute them. Families and spectators are asked to maintain a 50-foot distance at all times during competition, and they are not permitted to offer strategic assistance of any kind. We typically don't really have any issues within stroke play with this, but individual skills, because it is a smaller area, there's not as much spectator viewing, it can kind of get a little cramped with parents. So we are asking that they just stay further back from the competition and they don't offer coaching or any assistance to the athletes. The athletes have worked hard all season to show off their skills, so now it's kind of the time where we step back and we actually let them do that. Our golf national governing body is the United States Golf Association, or USGA. This year, we're really excited. We have 6 USGA rules officials who will be coming out to our competition. So if you see them, please thank them for their time because they are totally volunteering it and they know this sport like the back of their hand. They will be stationed throughout all 18 holes. So if you are on the course and you have a question pop up, grab one of the rules officials. If you don't see the rules official on the course, all of the 4 caddies are going to have radios so they can radio to the rules official to come to your hole. So we'll have them spread out to make it as convenient for you as possible. Uniform requirement. So proper golf attire is required for all of our athletes and unified partners. Violations of the dress code will result in disqualification. So the uniform is the same as you have been practicing all season. We're looking for collared shirts or golf mock shirts, slacks, Bermuda shorts, golf skirts, no denim, no sweatpants, no cutoffs or basketball shorts, no metal spikes on golf shoes. Queenstown is a beautiful course, so we want to try to keep it that way so they keep on letting us come back. And uniforms are prohibited from having advertisements. However, normal brand markings and logos are acceptable, such as Nike or Callaway or Special Olympics Anne Arundel County or Howard County Golf. All that kind of stuff is totally acceptable. So the scoring eligibility maximum entry averages. We are enforcing this. However, in the past, we had not allowed people who had an average of higher than what's listed here place for a finish award, but they're not just going to receive participation this year. They just can't go to any advanced competitions like a USA Games, a World Games, or an NIT if they are shooting an average that is higher than what is listed. The rain plan. So it has been an extremely rainy season. I'm hoping that we got all of the rain out of the way for the next year or so. But we do have a rain plan and it will be called into action by the Special Mixed Maryland Golf Committee. So we will play in the rain as long as it's a light rain. However, if it's a torrential downpour, that is a call that we will make either leading up to the event or the morning of, depending on when the storm rolls in. Athletes and partners are asked to continue their pace of play through the rain and inclement weather when possible. If there is lightning, please return to the clubhouse and get indoors. Safety is of the utmost importance to us. So if you just have to sink one more putt and you're about to do so, please just head inside. You can come back out to the course after 30 minutes and there's no lightning. We just want to make sure all of our athletes are as safe as they can be. Water and snacks. So for our individual skills competition golfers, we will have water stations placed throughout the competition venue. And then for the stroke play athletes, there are water stations throughout the lakes. I believe it's one every 3 or 4 holes. So there's plenty of opportunities to grab water. And then we'll also have snacks such as granola bars and water bottles for the stroke play golfers to take out onto the course with them. So if they want to grab that and just stick it in their bag, that's great. I do want to encourage you all to encourage your athletes and partners to bring reusable water bottles. I am very big on saving the planet, and this can make a small little difference. So if they can bring their water bottles, we'll even have some for sale at our merchandise table. It's super easy then to just fill them up as they're passing one of the water stations on the course. Awards. So awards are going to be presented in the pavilion right outside of the clubhouse. For our individual skills golfers, they're going to be called to the award staging tent following a 30 to 45-minute break after their competition. This is when they are going to eat their lunch right after they finish. They're asked to be ready to report to the award staging area when called and must remain in their full competition uniforms. Like I said earlier, the male level 1 athletes, because they are starting at a later time, they're going to eat their lunch prior to their competition. So as soon as they are done with their skills competition, they're going to go right to the pavilion and wait for their awards to be called. For the stroke play athletes, they're going to be directed and escorted to the award staging tent immediately after handing in their signed and verified scorecard at the scorer's tent. This is very important that you get the signature of the other teams that you are playing with. That way we know that your scorecard is accurate. If your scorecard is not signed, we will make you wait at the table until you get it signed. So it's typically easiest to just have everyone sign as soon as that last putt goes into the hole. That way it's done, so you can go back, drop off your bag, and get right over to awards and lunch. Protest procedures. So only the certified head coach can file a protest, and they can only be made on the application of sports rules, not on the judgment of officials. Protests have to be on a Special Olympics protest form, which we will have at the scorer's table, which is also where you have to hand it in within 30 minutes after the posting of the scores from the division. The Special Olympics Maryland Golf Committee will rule on each protest. The decision of the Golf Rules Committee can be appealed to the Games Rules Committee, who will be there day of at the event. The decision of the Games Rules Committee is final. So the Games Rules Committee is made up of myself, Marty Parks, who is a USGA rules official, Chuck, who is a coach and a member of our golf sports management team from Montgomery County, and Steven Sommerfeld Jr. is an athlete from Anne Arundel County, and he is our athlete representation on this team. So for the level 1 individual skills competition, I will be sending out the starting times, divisions, and starting stations for all of the athletes by Thursday, September 27th, probably by 12 p.m. at the very latest. It's also going to be posted during check-in. Athletes are to have their clubs ready at each station when it's their turn. They are required to carry their own clubs to and from each station. However, I know for some athletes this is not possible, so credentialed coaches may assist in carrying bags and clubs. Parents are not able to carry clubs. If you are in an extreme situation where you don't have enough coaches or volunteers and you know this ahead of time, please just let me know and we will check and see if the parent's able to carry them and give them a credential to do so, so we don't think that they're called for disqualification or anything. Coaches and parents are not permitted to coach, assist, or instruct an athlete once they have addressed the ball for their first attempt at any skill station. However, coaches are allowed to give advice or assist or instruct athletes in between skill stations. So when you're walking from the long putt to the chip shot, you can give them a few tips there to help do better at that station. Like I said before, the athletes have been training off season for this. They know what to do. So it's kind of, we just have to put our trust into them and see what great things they can accomplish. Athletes are going to compete in 2 full rounds of competition and they earn a cumulative score. The skill stations are not available for use before the competition. We will have portions of the driving range area and the practice green that's directly behind the driving range that's open for warm-up, but please do not have your athletes actually out on our skill stations. Queenstown is working pretty hard to set them all up, so we want to make sure that they are in top-notch shape for when we start the competition. Athletes are permitted 1 practice shot or attempt that doesn't count towards their score at each skill station before the competition begins. They only get this practice shot in the first round. So once they go through the first round and they're going back up for their second round of shots, that's the short putt, they can't take that practice shot again. It's just a one-time thing at each station. For tiebreakers and individual skills, a random skill station is completed during competition will be determined via random selection. The way we do this is by putting pieces of paper in a hat or in a cup with each labeled with a different skill station and then randomly drawing one out. The golfer with the highest combined score on that randomly selected skill station is deemed the winner of the tiebreaker. If the golfers are still tied after that first tiebreaker, the same process is going to be completed until a winner has been determined. For check-in for our skills athletes, they need to go to the check-in tent located just next to the pavilion behind the clubhouse, next to the practice screen. Staging for level 1 will begin for 9:15 for female golfers and noon for male golfers. So your individual athletes need to check in, but so does the coach, because the coach will receive their delegation roster as well as all the lunch tickets for your skills athletes. For level 2 through 5 check-in, golfers and teams should take their golf club to the bag drop area where someone from the golf course is going to place their bag on the proper golf cart. Then they should report to the check-in located in the pavilion behind the clubhouse. Golfers should check in at least 1 hour prior to their posted tee time. So our first tee time is going off at 9 with opening ceremonies at 8:15. So just have your first round of athletes there by 8. I encourage as many athletes as possible to actually come and watch our opening ceremonies. It's one of my favorite parts of the day, and I think it just really starts off the competition strong. But I totally understand if someone has an 11:30 tee time, if they don't want to get there that early, just make sure that they come an hour prior to their tee time. For competition for stroke play, golfers have been division based on their adjusted scores from the last 3 competitions. So the adjusted score is a giant spreadsheet that I have, and it takes your 3 most recent competitions, and it gets an adjusted score based off of the slope of the course. So just because you shot a 103 on a course does not mean that your score from that is a 103. It's based off of the slope, and then it's the average of those 3 adjusted scores. If you have any question about why a certain team is at a certain qualifying score, please just reach out to me and I can share their 3 most recent scores with you and provide a little bit of insight. If a 10th stroke is played without pulling the shot, the team shall record a score of 10x and proceed to the next hole. This kind of ties together with playing ready golf, which is my last bullet point on this slide, so I will get to that in just a minute. Level 2 through 5 golfers will begin their competition at a predetermined tee time. All tee times are going to be 10-minute increments. We will also be teeing off of holes 1 and 10, so we have 2 different starting holes just to keep things moving a little bit better. It's the same format as last year, so really no major changes. Similar to skills, divisions, pairings, and tee times will be distributed by Thursday, September 27th by 12 p.m., and the information will also be posted in the results area right outside of the clubhouse. Athletes and unified partners must be prepared to begin their competition at least 15 minutes prior to their tee time. So that means they need to be at their golf carts with their golf bags on the carts, ready to go in case we're a little bit ahead of time. Any athlete and unified partners who miss their tee time will be disqualified. So a really big thing that we ask is that athletes and unified partners play ready golf. We have about 20 to 25 new teams this year for stroke play, which is also great. But we really need to keep things moving so we don't have you all there until 7 o'clock. So just keeping up their pace of play, not taking their time when they're walking to the ball, just walking to the ball, addressing it, taking their shot, keeping things moving. The rules officials on the course will be looking out for this. So if they ask you to kind of pick up the pace a little, please don't be offended by it. They're just trying to keep our competition moving. So yeah, if everyone could play ready golf, that would be fantastic.
Kendall,
Yeah.
just one note before we leave that one slide. Just a reminder to folks, because a given division may be spread across a couple different tee times. In some cases, there may be as many as 3 different tee times. We just get that question at the results table as to, we've been done. How come you don't have our awards ready? It's because we're waiting for another group to come in because the other folks in your divisions are on another tee time. So just remember that, and please be patient as we wait for all the stuff to come in.
Awesome. Thank you, Mike. Yes, patience is the most valued thing at any competition. Tee location. So we did switch this up a little bit this year. So we're still just going to be using the forwardmost tee box on each hole. We won't use the junior or the kids golf tee markers, which I will show you a photo of so you can see it as a visual. And we're only using the red tees for both male and female participants. So This is an example of where our tee box is going to be, and we'll have the Special Olympics, the little golf ball tee markers. So you'll very clearly be able to see where you're supposed to tee off. What's different this year is in the past, we've had male athletes and unified partners tee off 5 yards behind female athletes and unified partners. We decided to eliminate that, and everyone is just going to tee off from the same exact area just to make it a little bit easier. So this is an example of the junior or the kids tees. They're way far up onto the fairway, and they're kind of an unfair advantage. So we are sticking with the red tee box. Tiebreakers. So we had actually a lot of tiebreakers last year for the level 2 through 5 stroke play team. The way that we do this, the first way is the team with the fewest amount of 10x scores is going to be deemed the winner. If the score remains tied after this tiebreaker, what we do next is similar to skills. A random pool of competition completed by all tied teams is determined via random selection. So we will put 18 different pieces of paper, or 9 depending on what level of athlete it is, and we will randomly choose a hole. The team who scored the lowest during the championship on that randomly selected hole is the winner. If the teams are still tied after that first tiebreaker, the same process is going to continue until we actually get a winner. In this tiebreaker, though, if someone has a score of 10 and someone has a score of 10x, the score of 10x is higher than that 10. So whoever scored the 10 would be the winner for that tiebreaker. Results are going to be posted for each competition division immediately following the collection of all scorecards. Results postings can be found in the pavilion. After turning in the scorecard, the golfer and team should remove the golf bag from the golf cart and place it in the bag drop area. Then they should immediately go towards the awards area where they will be waiting. They can eat their lunch depending on how much time we have. Realistically, they'll have time to eat a hot dog or a hamburger before we get all the awards in, but we will make an announcement for which divisions we're calling to staging. Unless otherwise directed by a Special Olympics Maryland official, golfers have to remain in the awards area until their awards are presented. If you have an athlete who wants to go get changed right after they get off the course, please just remind them they need to get their award first. They cannot receive their award if they are not in their competition attire. So rules officials, USGA rulebooks, and USGA notifications. Like I said, we have 6 USGA rules officials, which is fantastic, and they're all so excited to be coming out. They will be running the course throughout the competition, so if you need a ruling or you have a question, just signal to them or have a floor caddy call for them, and they'll be right over to you. If no rules official is available, please refer to the USGA rulebook. It's available on their website, and I believe I have a few in the warehouse still that I can put at the check-in table. If you would like to grab one before you head out to your tee time, that's totally fine. The other thing that I would recommend is USGA has an awesome app that you can download on your phone, and it lets you easily access the rule book. You can search things. It has all these different cool features on it. So I highly recommend that people get that. Golf carts. So golfers must adhere to the course rules for the day for golf carts. Only persons with a valid driver's license who are 18 or older are eligible to drive the golf cart during the state championship unless they were granted approval from Special Olympics. So as of now, I only have one team that has requested this, and they have been given permission. So if that is not you and you are in this situation, please just reach out to me. I'm very flexible with this kind of stuff, but we just want to make sure that we are aware of it. Spectators need to be prepared to walk in order to watch the competition. They are not able to ride in a golf cart with a golfer or a team. Golfers or teams who are found in breach of this are subject to disqualification. So this really wouldn't be the case for level 2 or 3 because you have 2 people. But if you are a level 5 golfer and you don't have a caddy, it's just you out there, you can't have your parent ride with you. Head coach responsibilities. So the head coach is the individual directly responsible for all of the management of the athletes from a delegation. They are responsible for ensuring that athletes are at their competition sites and events, that they are properly equipped, that they are on time, and that they are ready to go. If we have any problems with a specific athlete, it's going to be addressed with the head coach. Same with if we have any issues with families or spectators, we will be going to the head coach to help deal with that. Each delegation needs to have a head coach who will attend all sports meetings if we feel the need to have them. As of now, I don't envision that. However, if it looks like the weather's taking a turn, I might call a meeting with the head coaches, so we would just need someone there. I know that we have at least 2 counties whose head coaches have had to step in the role of unified partner. So for these counties, I just ask that you let me know a designated person, one of your assistant coaches, who is going to be acting in that role. They will be the ones who will be able to submit a protest and who will be receiving your delegation packet. And it's the responsibility of head coaches to communicate information presented in the meetings to all of their athletes, unified partners, and assistant coaches. Lunches and meals. So our lunches are the same as they have been in the past. It's a hamburger and a hot dog and a side item and a drink. So I've kind of already gone through how to go about getting your meals for both skills and for stroke play athletes. But just to reiterate, for the level 1 male athletes, they are going to be eating from 11:15 to 11:45 prior to the staging for their competition. For the female level 1 athletes, they are going to be eating following the conclusion of their competition. And for the levels 2 through 5 stroke play athletes, they are going to be eating after they hand in their scorecard. That's when they'll get their meal ticket. If you have a team who is one of the last tee times, which shouldn't be anywhere past 12:20, and they would like to eat before, that is fine. Just let me know and I can go grab them tickets so they can have that to hand in. As you are getting your lunch, please encourage everyone to thank the people who are providing the lunch. So it's actually the staff from Queenstown, and they put in a lot of hard work for this competition to happen. And I know a thanks goes a long way. So the more we say it, the happier they will be. All coaches, officials, and volunteers are going to receive a meal ticket at check-in. Coaches, your meal tickets are going to be in your packet along with all of the meal tickets for your skills athletes. Families who wish to purchase a lunch or food can visit the snack bar inside of the clubhouse. They have a bunch of great options, but families cannot eat the food that is out there for the athletes. They ordered a specific number for our athletes and our volunteers and our partners and coaches. So we want to make sure that we don't run out of food for our actual participants. Family hospitality, we will have a table located in the pavilion area. This is for families. There will be information on competition, ceremonies, surrounding community, etc. Right next to the families table, we will have a merchandise table, which for the first time, we're actually having a few golf-specific items that we're really excited about. So please check those out. Encourage your families to check them out. There's some pretty cool stuff. All right, so this is a map of Queenstown Harbor. So A in the center, that's the clubhouse. If you go behind it directly, that is the pavilion. The pavilion is where registration, check-in, lunch, the scores table, awards, so much is going on there. Families, merchandise. If you need something, most likely the answer is going to be in the pavilion. And if it is not, find someone in the pavilion who is wearing a staff or a management team shirt, and they will be able to point you in the right direction. So C on the right is where our driving range is and the practice green that will be open all day for the stroke play athletes to warm up. D just represents parking, so there's ample amounts of parking for everyone. And then E is where the Lakes Course tee number 1 is. So we will have people teeing off from hole 10 and hole 1. But hole 1 is right there close to the driving range. This is just a close-up of half of the skill stations and the pavilion. So all that stuff is happening inside of the pavilion, and then we jump to the skill stations. Short putt is going to be the closest station, followed by long putt, and then chip shot is going to be at the opposite side of the green. We will have a shuttle pickup area and drop-off area for our skills golfers. Just have your head coach communicate with one of the management team members and let them know who's going to need a ride over there. We have 2 6-passenger golf carts, so we have plenty of room to do so. But just make sure that it's athletes who actually need the ride over, not just someone whose legs are tired and they don't feel like walking anymore. So just try to save it for the athletes who truly need it. This next picture shows the driving range, and then it has B is where that practice green for the stroke play golfers is, and then C at the bottom right is the section of the driving range that we will have open for the stroke play golfers to warm up before they actually get out on the course. So if you go to the top right, E is our pitch shot, And then we have our wood shot and our iron shot right there on the driving range. Driving directions, so I'm not going to read through all these little paragraphs because I don't want to put you guys to sleep at 7:30 on a Thursday night. But this is a great resource if you want to send this out to your families if they want directions, or they can put it in their GPS, whatever's easiest. And that is all of the information that I have for you. But at this time, I would like to open the floor up if anyone has anything they want to discuss or any questions. I think it's going to be a great day. I'm really excited to see some of these new golfers out there. We had a bunch of golfers from level 1 who are moving up to level 2, which is great. That's what we're always striving for. So that kind of just reflects on all of you guys as coaches. So thank you for making that part possible.
Kendall, we don't have any questions at the moment, but I just wanted to note we have our, I have, excuse me, have the golf course up on our new handy dandy weather app. And although it is, quite a ways out right now, they're calling for sunny well, no rain with a high of 68. So I realize, that again, it's 10 days out, but keep our fingers crossed. Looks like it'll be pretty good. And we have Jim Kirshner has his hand up. Jim, your line should be open. Jim, you can go ahead and talk. Not sure what the problem is. Looks like your line's open. Okay. Jim, you may want to connect. If you're, it looks like you're hooked up through your computer. You may want to check your connection. Anyone else with a question? Looks like we have one typed in. Hold on just a second while we're waiting. And so Jim typed in his question. Just wanted to be sure that we can send out the list of golfers who've qualified for the state tournament. So Kendall, when is that going out?
So actually, everyone who was registered in the games has qualified for the state tournament. That was kind of a result of all the competition opportunities this season, but we didn't have anyone who has been competing in competitions that did not qualify, which is great.
Okay. That's assuming also there were a couple folks for whom we know you have their medicals, but we had not received them. So if you were notified of that we were missing their medicals, we have to have them. You have to get your copy into us by Monday. But other than that, then that's great.
Are there any other questions?
Eileen Taylor raised her hand. Eileen, your phone line should be open.
How does that work with the athlete and partner? Is it if a partner goes off on the first tee, then the athlete goes off on the second tee?
Yep, so they are just going to alternate. They can do it in whichever way they want. If the partner wants to tee off first or the athlete does, as long as they keep that rotation consistent throughout the play.
So no matter who shoots the ball into the hole, whoever's turn it is, they have to take turns going off the tee. Is that how it is?
Yep, they'll alternate teeing off.
Okay, alternate tee off. Okay. How many clubs in the bag?
We don't have a specific rule of exactly how many they can have. I believe the limit is, I want to say either 12 or 14, which is a ton of different clubs.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, thank you.
Of course.
Okay, and Prue Sahadio, your line should be open.
Hey, thanks, guys. First of all, I want to say that, this is new where we have the female skills going first and the male going at noon. Can we go back to that slide? I want to take a look at the schedule for a second.
Okay.
Sure. The slide that had all the times on it.
Yes. Because for skills, for the male and female, we need to tell them, you know, what time they should show up. So we know for the female, they have to be there earlier, but for the male, I'm not sure if they're going to want to come in at 7:30 for registration. So I don't recall what time they need to show up for registration if their competition going to start by noon. You know what I mean?
Definitely. So for the male athletes, I would just say to have them there an hour before. So have them there by 11. Their staging is going to be at 12, but their lunchtime is 11:15 to 11:45. So
right,
I'll include that when I send out the tee times and like the starting stations and starting times for the skills athletes. So you can just send that directly out to the families.
Right, good. Yeah, because, you know, so in that case, they'll miss opening ceremony, right? And
yeah.
I guess that's okay.
Yeah, it's their choice.
Yes. Okay, it's their choice. Okay, yeah, this is good. And yeah, that's all I have. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
And I think that answers, Judy, the question you typed in. I think that gives you the same answer. If there was something else you were asking, let us know. But at the moment, Kendall, that looks like that's, I don't see any other hands raised or any questions in.
Man, well, 35 minutes isn't too bad for a pre-competition webinar. But like I said, tonight was recorded. So if you have any questions that pop up after this webinar is over, feel free to call me with them, send me an email, and I will get back to you as quickly as possible. I'm here to help you guys. So thank you again for logging on tonight. And thank you for all of the work that you've put into the season. I'm really looking forward to next Sunday. Have a great night.
Thank you all.